Good morning students, I Hemant Vyas welcome you to a biology class. Students, let's start with our new chapter today, that is reproduction in plants. We know plants are very important source for oxygen for our living. We require oxygen from the plants. But have you ever guessed, if there are no plants on future earth, then there will be no oxygen. So plants also reproduce to produce their new offsprings, which further on grew into new plants, and they further produce their new offsprings, and in this way this process is continuing. So this continuous process is called as reproduction. So what is the definition of reproduction? Students, reproduction is the process in which the organisms produce young ones of their own kind, like dogs produce puppies. Similarly, cats produce kittens. Now, let's see some of the examples of reproduction in plants. Students, insects and other animals, including wind and water, play a very important role in the pollination of the plants, which further on carries reproduction. Now, therefore, the plant reproductive system consists of three phases. The first phase is the phase where the petals of the flower dry and fall off, forming the fruits. Now this is a growing, maturing fruit. Afterwards, when it completely develops, the petals of the flower, which are white in color, they dry off, and as a result of pollination, you can see that the fruits are developing from the basal part of that flower. All the petals have been removed from this flower, and now this part is swirling is called as fruit. The next phase of the reproductive life of plant is the fruits grow big in size and they contain seeds. Now when the petals are removed from the flower, the basal part of flower starts growing and increasing in size. These increase completely in size and forms a fleshy part called pericarp of the fruit, and these contain seeds for the germination of new plants. Now the third phase of the plant is when the seeds get suitable conditions in the soil and they start to germinate and they form the new young saplings, which further grow on and become plants, and these plants now will again continue the process of reproduction. So in this way is the life cycle of plant. Now students, there are a variety of seeds that are available to us. We see a huge variety of seeds in the market as well as in our homes. Some are very large seeds and some are very small seeds. All grains that we eat are also seeds. For example, rice, wheat, gram, kidney beans, peas are all. Coriander, mustard and cumin are also seeds. Seeds are of different shapes and sizes. Some seeds like custard, datura, mango are big in size, while of mustard, cardamom, cumin are very small in size. So there is a huge diversity in the seeds themselves. Students, there are some conditions which a seed must have to grow. First, seeds should be healthy. Damaged seeds do not grow into new plants. So if you find damaged seed, you cannot grow it into a new plant because it might be damaged. Seeds should get right type of soils and minerals. If the soil is not correct, no plant can be formed. Seeds should have the right amount of water, air, light and warmth, which are very essential for the formation of seeds, as seeds derive nutrition from these four elements that are available to it from the environment as well as the correct generations. Students, now let us draw the structure of seed. So here you can see that how the structure of seed is drawn. You have to draw it in your copies correctly like the way it has been drawn and shown over here. The marking should be very correct. Afterwards, when the structure of seed is drawn, now you can take a marker and darken the outline of the seeds as shown over here. This is very important procedure as it clearly defines the boundaries of the seed. After drawing the darkened boundaries of whole of the seed, you can further darken it with the help of HB pencil or any marker or any black pen which is available to you. Now you can see I have drawn it. Now the next process over here is coloring. Outermost layer you have to color with maroon or dark brown or red color. This is the outermost covering of the seed which you are able to see. Now when this whole of the covering is completed, you have to draw it very properly so that it can be clearly visible. The next one you have to cover with the green color, because this is only the part which is further going to form a new plant. The innermost you have to draw with the yellow color. This is the one which stores food for the seeds, and this green color part derive nutrition from it. Now let's do the labeling. So you can see over here, first I am drawing over here the green one, which is the first leaf, and the basal part of this is called embryo. Now the outermost covering, this brown color, is seed, and the innermost or yellow colored, this one which you can see the largest part, forms the nutritive tissue for the seed, or we can say that this forms the endosperm. Now this is the diagram of the seed which you can see over here. A typical seeds contains the cotyledons, which you can see are the outermost covering. Then outer of that is the seed coat which protects the seed. Inside you can see a small basal part which is called radicle. It further forms the root, and the plumule will form the shoot. Now this whole is called the embryo, and there is an axis which divides these cotyledons into equal halves. So this is an example of the dicotyledonous seed, and this is the labeling of the seed. Now students, let's see the basic difference between monocot and dicot seeds. So the monocot seeds have only one seed leaf. That means they have only one seed coat. Those are monocotyledons. And some seeds which have two seed leaves or two seed coats are called dicotyledon seeds. Now you have to understand this basic difference between these two types of seeds. So that's all for today, students. Thank you and have a nice day.